Hello and welcome to GameRomp Easy Mode. It's a podcast where my wife and I talk about video games.
Hi.
And we try to be chill and relaxed so we don't make too many loud noises and blow your eardrums out.
That would be bad.
Anyway, I'm David.
I'm Deanna.
And we're going to talk about some random shit again this week because that's what this is, right?
I guess so. Sometimes we have topics, sometimes we don't.
It's loose topics sometimes. Like today. One of the things I wanted to talk about was emulation and I guess RetroArch.
Now, what is RetroArch?
It's a thing I've heard about it. Like, I have heard about it before and just never looked into it too much. But it's basically like you can kind of see it as like an all-in-one emulator program. And it's very easy to set up.
Okay, so this was the thing you were playing on the TV with?
Yeah, for a little bit I was trying to play it on the TV because, I mean, that's the dream for me, to get something like that connected to the TV and I can just sit on the couch and play all the old games.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have, like, the biggest, bestest TV, but it's certainly bigger than the monitors that we have.
Yeah, by today's standards, our TV is tiny.
And also probably ancient.
Yeah, it's like, we bought this at the end of 2013.
Oh, so we've had it since we moved here.
Yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay, yeah, that is old.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we got a 10-year-old TV that's like 1,000 years in technology.
Yeah, and it's not that big, and I mean, it's like 40 inches, 1080p, but yeah, it's not... I would be up for an upgrade at some point, but that's just not in the cards right now.
Yeah, I have thoughts about upgrades, but I guess that's a different discussion.
Anyway, I wanted to connect RetroArch to, well, it's on my PC. And I got my PC in a way where I finally connected it to the TV. It's kind of a complicated mess because I also have like a second monitor already for my drawing tablet. I don't remember what the Wacom one is called, but it's not a Wacom. It's a monoprice drawing tablet monitor. It was very cheap. Comparatively. Yeah,
I was gonna say it was cheap, but it's still expensive.
Yeah, it was like $400.
That's pretty steep for some people.
$400, I think, is like 22 inches across. It's pretty big. I know for like if I wanted something like that in like Wacom, it would be like thousands of dollars.
Jesus.
But anyways, it's a great little tablet monitor that I use for work because I draw for work. Anyway,
because you're a professional.
Anyways, because... Anyway, so I got the two monitors on my desktop, and I want to also connect the TV to my desktop. And it's like, how do I do that in a way where I don't have to constantly unplug and plug in stuff? It's just a hassle, right?
It's called an HDMI cord, right?
A splitter.
Close enough.
No, a cord is a cord. A splitter is a splitter. Yeah, I ended up buying a splitter and basically split the signal from the second monitor to the TV so I can...
switch between the two?
Yeah. It's still not perfect, honestly.
What is seemingly wrong?
I want it to be plug and play, where I can just turn on the TV, go to the computer, turn on the emulator, and I think RetroArch does have settings where it's like, okay, when RetroArch is playing, where is the audio going? Where is the video going? Whereas normally you would have to like tell Windows like, okay, time to switch over to this. So in that sense, it's really good. They've made the program so that you can easily set up the program itself to output audio to the TV, even if the rest of your computer is outputting audio to your, computer speakers.
So the emulator program you have overrides Windows.
Yeah, well, it's being played, I guess. I don't know the mumbo jumbo behind it, but yeah, it took me a while to figure that out because I just thought like, oh, it's just going to use Windows settings, so I have to like tell Windows I need you to send this signal to the TV now. But no, RetroArch has its own thing so that it can handle that on its own, which is cool. Yeah, once I figured it out, it was actually really cool. So I set it up. Right now I only have NES games on there. I might get some SNES games. I think I have like a hard drive rolling around with a bunch of those on there because I was just in the mood to play MegaMan 4. I don't remember why, but for some reason I just had an urge to play MegaMan 4 again.
Now that's interesting because I can understand having the urge to play MegaMan, but it was that specific version that you really needed to play?
Yeah, mostly because of... It's probably because of your Blue Sky tweet a while back.
Really?
Yeah, you were like, oh, what's your favorite snow level? And then I picked a screenshot from MegaMan 4, and I'm like, oh.
No, I asked the snow game. You're the one that picked a level, and I'm like, fine, I guess that counts.
So I saw that, and just like, for certain games, for me at least, if I just even look at a screenshot, like the music just fills my head instantly. I don't know if like you get that sometimes. Like if you saw like a screenshot of Okami.
Yeah, I'd say I probably get that sometimes.
Yeah. So I had that with the Mega Man 4, and I'm like, oh man, I want to play it and hear the music in context again. And Cossack Stage, which is the screenshot I showed you, is like Dr. Cossack's he has two themes for his castle, and they're both really, really, really good.
So this isn't one of the machine bosses?
No, Dr. Cossack is like, like Dr. Light or Dr. Wily. He's just a
regular human dude.
Yeah. So yeah, I played through Mega Man 4. I tried to play it on the TV, and it works, but what doesn't work is my controller. I have a DualShock 4, and that's my only like good wireless controller. Except I guess it's so old now that the battery life is literally like less than an hour. So I'm thinking I'll either one day get a new controller or maybe just a long wired controller, because I don't mind wires, and it's just, I don't know, it's kind of nice not to have to set up the dongle and all the Bluetooth shit. But I don't know, maybe I should just splurge on a really good controller,
as long as the latency for wireless isn't like too bad.
Yeah, latency is important for an NES game too. But so yeah, I was playing through that. A neat thing about the RetroArch too is that like it has a bunch of built-in shaders that you can throw on. I know for a lot of people nowadays who aren't as old as me, maybe you never played on a CRT TV. That's a wild thought to think about, but there are generally going to be people
Kids
who genuinely have never even seen a real CRT television.
Actually, what a 20-year... When was the last time CRTs were made?
I don't know. I mean, I had a flat screen LCD TV since 2008 was the first time I bought a TV like that. And we were kind of late adopters because...
That'd be actually bonkers if an actual adult who's at least like 20 or something has never played on a CRT.
Yeah.
Let's not try to think about our age right now.
Anyway, so for those that don't know, somehow, maybe everyone knows this, but just in case, obviously the CRTs, they weren't HD, and they had a lot of like, depending on the TV, they would be kind of fuzzy, and old games took that into account, because when they were designing the games back then, that's all there was. Like, they had to know, like, what is our character going to look like on the TV? Even though we're creating it pixel by pixel, it's going to look like this on the TV, right? So there's plenty of accounts out there, like on Twitter or Blue Sky or wherever on the internet, where you see like, this is what this game looks like on a CRT, and this is what it looks like, raw pixels like you would see on a LED or LCD screen.
Yeah, I don't know if this counts as like a famous picture, but I know I've seen the comparison of what it looks on the CRT for the Castlevania games with, I guess, Dracula.
Yeah, his portrait.
And his eyes, and then it's the pixel perfect version, and it's just a single red dot.
Yeah.
But they knew that red dot was going to merge with all the surrounding ones.
Yeah.
It's just really fascinating to think about.
Yeah, there's like it turns his eyes into like a little glowing red instead of just a little red dot. And that was, I mean, all the games. Like when you look back at some of the games with some of the best sprite art, like Final Fantasy VI, for example, like there's a lot of cool monsters and stuff in that game. And if you look at their pixels raw, I mean, they still look really good. But then you see them like the way they were intended to be seen, and it's just like mind-blowing.
Now I want to look at the pixel perfect version versus what it would look on a CRT for something like Metal Slug. Because like, I can remember playing that at the arcade, and obviously the arcade TVs at the time were CRTs as well.
Yeah.
So now I'm really curious about that, because that is... You want to talk top pixel artists? That was it.
And even for early 3D games, like on the PlayStation, you'll oftentimes see like remakes or ports, or even just people running emulators of games like Final Fantasy VII or Final Fantasy IX, and it's like the backgrounds are pre-rendered, right? And then like the polygon models on top, well, they were polygons. But if you view them in high resolution now, like, it's so jarring because, like, you can tell, oh, this is a flat image and these sharp ass polygons are on top of it. But back then, because
they didn't look as sharp.
Yeah, back then, because of the resolution of the machine and like all the CRT fuzziness, like it looked like they all belonged together. It was magic.
Now, is there a special, say, Blue Sky account where we could look this up?
I know there was one back in the day on the other
website.
Yeah, but I'm sure he's on Blue Sky as well. I'll have to look at it. Maybe we can
link it in the show description.
Yeah. And there's just a bunch of people that are doing that comparison stuff now too. Like even YouTube channels are like, oh, look, this is what it was and this is what it looks like now. And that's actually how I found RetroArch. Somebody made a little compilation of like, oh, here's some of the shaders, which, wow.
Now, do you mean shaders or do you mean the filters?
In RetroArch, they're called shaders.
Oh, okay.
But they're basically, they're filters. And there's a bunch of different versions, but I've only been using the CRT ones. So for MegaMan, I'm like, okay, I want a CRT for like a composite cable that, that's... We either used back then like the RF cable or the composite cable.
I think I only remember ever using the composite. That's the one with the red, yellow, white?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there was also like the RF, which is like you would plug it directly into the cable thing. Like, where
the cable box?
No. Oh boy, this is also a thing that some people might not even have these days. But when you had cable back then, you would take the cable, plug it into the back of the TV, right? This RF thing was like a go-between. You would plug the cable into the RF thing and the RF thing into the TV. That way, the NES could intercept that signal and like put your game on channel 3, for example.
Oh, okay. I vaguely remember having the SNES, so it must have happened at some point, but most of my childhood was playing my N64, so I guess that's why I understand the composite cables more than the old one.
Yeah, and for like, if you're using like the composite cables, the TVs usually would have a channel specifically for that, like the composite channel or whatever, the input select composite, whereas for the RF, the box, that the RF little thing on itself would be like, do you want this to be on channel 3 or channel 4? So, we'd always leave it on channel 3. And so whenever I wanted to play the NES, I would change the channel, change the TV to channel 3, which where I lived was PBS. Very handy. That's how I would like see like snippets of Sesame Street and stuff. It's like, oh, I want to go play Mega Man. Oh, there's Elmo. I don't care. I want to play Mega Man. Anyways, so that would go into the TV, and that's like the lowest quality. I mean, it was very blurry, but like you kind of don't really realize that back then. It was fine.
We didn't have HD. Everything was blurry. That's just what it was.
But some of it was blurrier than others. But yeah, I mean, still, it was great, and that's how I played NES and Super NES for the longest time. I don't think I'd composite until way later. So RetroArch has some basically CRT filters or shaders, so you can like make it look like you're playing on the old TVs. And I was like, I want to experience that because I haven't really played too many games with CRT shaders on them or filters. I know Sonic Mania had one, like built in, that you can turn on. But it's like, ooh, if I can play the old emulated games with that just being processed through the emulator, that sounds great. So I did that, and it was fun. And I beat Mega Man 4 again, because, well...
Why not?
Yeah. Like, as a kid, I had Mega Man 2. No. My cousins had Mega Man 2. I loved it. And then I bought Mega Man 3. Well, my parents bought Mega Man 3 for me. But Mega Man 4 is one, like, that I would rent a lot and beat it that way. And same for, like, 5 and 6. But 4 was definitely the one we rented the most. So, yeah, I mean, I've always loved Mega Man, and all of the Mega Man games are fun. Like, even 1. 1 is, like, a bit rough around the edges, but it's still good. Yeah,
they didn't realize at the time what quality of life stuff they could have used or needed or what have you.
Yeah, like E-tanks weren't even a thing in the first one.
Oh, jeez.
Or passwords. You had to beat it all in one go.
Yeesh.
So, yeah, the first one's a little rough, but it's also shorter.
I would hope so.
2 is, like, everyone's favorite, I guess. Well, it's up there as most favorite for some people. It always seems to be split between like 2 and 3. It's hard because like both of them are good in their own ways, but I feel like 2 has a few downsides that is hard for me to justify calling it the best one.
Can you explain that in any way to us?
Sure, if you want me to. So in Mega Man 2, oh boy, in Mega Man 2, it's fantastic. Let's get that out of the way first. One of the first things you see is that cool shot where like it's showing the skyscraper and it goes all the way to the top and Mega Man's standing on top and that music just is incredible, right? Everyone knows that Mega Man 2 intro song. Some of you might not know that haven't played Mega Man 1. It's actually kind of like a continuation of the ending thing of Mega Man 1.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
A nice little throwback.
Yeah, because even like at the end of Mega Man 1, it's like, oh, peace is here for now, but you'll always have to fight for peace or blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, so there's going to be more of this. And the song literally picks back up. It's like, yep, it's time to go fight again. So Mega Man 2 is, well, obviously is the sequel to Mega Man 1, and it added 2 extra Robot Masters, and in general, everything about it is better. Mega Man feels better to control. Now there's passwords. There's like additional items you can use, like the item 1, 2, and 3, which are like platforms that you can throw out. Like one of them is like a rocket platform that you can ride. Another one's a platform that has a little fan that floats up, etc. It's just really fun. There are a few things that are not so good, like in retrospect. Like some of the level design is kind of wild. Like, okay, Heatman, for example. I don't know if anyone, I mean, I'm sure there's people on YouTube who are like masters of the game that have beat Heatman stage the regular way without using item 2.
Are you supposed to beat it without using the item?
I don't know. I feel like maybe they designed it in a way where it's like, oh, just come back later when you have this other item. As like a way where you could be like, oh, I get it. I can use this to get through here. Because there's a section in Heatman stage where you have the disappearing blocks.
Right.
And it just goes on forever. Over pits, over lava. I've never in my entire life ever completed that.
I mean, if you have the item, that's part of the game of using it, right?
Yeah.
So it seems like that should still count as a legitimate win.
I mean, yeah. I'm just saying, like, if you're listening to this and you've beaten Heatman stage without using that item,
please leave us a comment somewhere so we can see you do this, or if you get a video or something.
Well, I'm sure there's videos of it on YouTube, but yeah, like, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm sure most people know the disappearing blocks of Mega Man.
Yeah, even I know, and I've never technically played a Mega Man.
For most of the Mega Man games in the future, it's usually like one screen worth of blocks that you have to deal with. This was like easily 5-6 screens all in one row. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot stop.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I was expecting you to say 2, maybe 3.
No.
Not double that.
That's huge.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's huge. That section is crazy.
I mean, I suppose if you were crazy enough to want to put this amount of time in, you probably could memorize where exactly the blocks are, but why would you want to do that?
I'm definitely going to pull up a YouTube video later to show you because it's crazy. But anyways, between that and later in the Wily Castle stages, there's also some just questionable level design. I think every other level in the beginning of Mega Man 2 is fine. Like, okay, Quick Man, for example, is another one where that a lot of people don't like. You can use Flashman to stop the insta-kill lasers. But that one is actually easy enough that you can like learn the patterns and just be fast, as in Quick Man.
Yeah.
So that's better, because if you use the Flash Stopper to stop the lasers, you're going to get to the boss without the boss's weakness. So it's better just to save that for the boss. Airman's pretty easy. Woodman's pretty easy. Crashman is pretty easy.
So these are all the same robots as last time, and you said they just added 2.
No. These are... Every Mega Man game has... Well, the first game has 6 Robot Masters. Every game from then on has 8. Okay. And they're always new.
Oh, okay.
There are some like Easter eggs where like past Robot Masters come back for certain games, but for the most part, no. The 8 that you get are brand new.
Okay, that's cool.
Like I said, there are some Easter eggs and even some like bonus. Mega Man 3, for example, is the only Mega Man game where you fight all 8 Robot Masters from the previous game again in that game. So Mega Man 3 has like it's 3 brand new robots, and then after you beat them, you have to go through 4 stages where you beat the 8 robots from Mega Man 2. Except they're like in Doc robot form. But again, this is getting too nuanced for this.
This is too nerdy. I don't like
What
this.
was I talking about? Because you asked me like why Mega Man 2 wouldn't be my fave. And that's why I went into
Something
that.
about quality of life stuff, I guess?
No, well, it's not really quality of life because, okay, yeah, Mega Man 2 introduces items and it introduces E-Tanks. But I think what holds its back is some of the stage design and some of the boss design.
Okay.
One of the other things I don't like is the dragon in Dr. Wily's first castle stage because, like, it's really cool.
Is this the, like, little green, yellow dragon that I'm thinking of, or is that a...
Probably, yeah.
Okay. I don't know if there's, like, multiple dragons in Dr. Wily's castle.
There's this part where it just becomes an auto-scroller. And the momentum of it kind of can throw you for a loop. So if you don't catch yourself when the auto-scrolling starts, you can, like, accidentally jump off the edge.
Oof.
The blocks. Because there's just, like, one block wide platforms. And then you have to keep jumping, and, you know, the dragon will, at this point, kill you in one hit. It's very unforgiving, I guess.
That sounds harsh.
It's not too hard once you get used to it, but yeah, it's definitely not as forgiving as later Mega Man games, which is funny because a lot of people think Mega Man games are super hard. But I think the biggest thing that kills Mega Man 2 for me is there's a boss in the Wily Castle stages that is basically these little light bulbs, and some of them are hidden around explodable walls. But they are also only weak to the weapon that you use to blow up those walls. And if you don't take good care of figuring out what order and how to reach each of these things, and you run out of bombs to explode them or the walls, you just cannot beat this stage. So you have to basically, like, die and then go back out and either grind up energy for it, which is going to be a nightmare, or just get a game over.
Harsh.
So it's like, that was really bad. I don't like that one.
Does that count as a soft lock or not, because you can technically, like, kill yourself to restart?
Yeah, you can technically kill yourself, but, like, that's not a great design. Like,
no, I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying technically it doesn't count as a soft lock.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you're not locked here. You can just kill yourself and get a game over and then try again. But it's like, most of the time when you're playing these games, if you die, you can restart and you'd have some chance. Even if you... Like, if you're fighting Quickman and you run out of Flashman's weapon energy...
You just have to use something else.
It's going to be really hard, but technically you can do it. This boss is impossible. You would have to grind out the energy for it. And, it's just not good.
Now, when was Mega Man 2 made? Because the first one came out, wasn't that technically in the 80s?
Yeah.
Okay, so when was Mega Man 2?
Oh, I don't know. I don't
was
have
that
this
also
data
the
off the top of my head.
Well, I just mean, like, was that the late 80s or early 90s? Because I'm just thinking, yeah, a level shouldn't be designed that way, and maybe they should have known that even back in the day. But at the same time, video games were so new, maybe they didn't think of it or something. Like, how much would you excuse them for
I don't know.
doing it this badly?
There is a part in Mega Man 3 that you could probably screw yourself over, but it feels like it would be a lot harder to do that in that game. And then after that, it feels like it's not ever been that bad again. There's definitely bosses where it's like, oh, you don't have the right energy, it's going to be a nightmare. But it's still, like, not impossible. So you could at least play and, like, do damage and learn the pattern and get better. But in that Mega Man 2 boss, which I think the guys are called the Boo Beam Trap Room or something, it's just impossible. So it's like you just go in there and die. That's all you can do.
Harsh.
Same for the final boss at the very end, when you beat all the Robot Master boss rush mode and you have to fight Wily. You, like, blow up his machine and then he jumps out of his UFO and, oh my god, he turns into an alien. And, like, as a kid, that scared me. Like, oh my, this is so scary. This guy that I thought was just an old man, he's actually an alien. And I was really scared of aliens back then because of the X-Files and shit.
Oh.
Well, I don't know if that was before or after the X-Files. Anyway,
Poor little baby David.
Yeah, it's like he turns into an alien. It's super scary. Nothing hurts him except one weapon, which is the bubble. So you have to, like, shoot this alien that's flying around in this dark space, and that's, like, you know, how you beat the game. And it's really cool. It's actually really, really cool.
That's kind of hilarious that a bubble can take him out.
I mean, it's, yeah.
Is it like a soap bubble and it has all these additional chemicals that just like start eating away at his alien flesh or something?
Well, it's not, that's the thing. When he pops out of the UFO and he looks, he like, Dr. Wily's sprite just like morphs into an alien, right? But when you beat it, like the room goes from being this black void of space with stars into like you're actually in this room and there's like this VR machine and Dr. Wily's in the back like on a little computer. And then you see,
is that like
you see like a little computer chip floating around in the air. So like I guess you're like short circuiting out the machine with the water bubble lead, whatever. Anyway.
Sorry, I just blanked out, but like wasn't that kind of the ending of, maybe I'm thinking of something else. The Golden Road or something. Not Alice.
Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, wasn't he like at a computer or something at the end of the movie, or was that something else?
It wasn't a computer, but yeah, I guess he was like in this little room talking into a tube and like there was this magical projection of Oz on the screen or like in fire or something. I guess
that's what it made me think of. I don't know.
I guess you could kind of see similarities there, yeah. So Dr. Wily was basically like, yeah, trying to fake out MegaMan with this like alien thing. And like, again, as a kid, that scared me. And it's funny because
Were you less scared once you figured out it wasn't a real alien?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny because like, I'm not a person that's like huge into fan fiction, but I remember years and years and years ago, I had read a MegaMan fan fiction. And they had like really gone into detail about that little section too. It was like, oh my God, it's so terrifying. Anyway, so yeah, Mega Man 2. And then Mega Man 3 is obviously, they introduced, instead of the items, they introduced Rush. So Rush can be like your jet and stuff. And
okay, that must be the one I'm thinking of, because you mentioned all the items and I'm just thinking these little red things.
Yeah.
Or were the items themselves also red?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Rush is red and the items in Mega Man 2 are red.
Okay. I guess they just, I was like, let's just slap a dog skin on it, whatever.
Yeah, it's cuter. I mean, yeah,
that's fair.
It's fine. And Rush has become like a mainstay of the series since. Even though the items in Mega Man 2 were kind of fun, I really liked his little rocket hoverboard thing. But now Rush does it, so whatever.
Would you say Rush is more of a staple than Roll?
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Rush because he's a puppy, but, you know. Is Roll mostly just like a manga thing or something?
She appears in the endings and stuff, but like that's about it.
Poor Roll.
There's a little bit of her in Mega Man 3. After you beat Mega Man 3, oh god, Mega Man 3 introduces Proto Man, or Blues in Japan. And he's like, oh, this is your younger brother. He was made before you, but he's a kind of a prototype, and then he ran away. After you beat the game, they show you like this Dr. Light's robot. I don't know if it's like an encyclopedia or something, but it's just like the list of the robots he made, right? And they're all numbered. Like Dr. Light 007 is like Gutsman. Dr. Light 006 is Fireman, or whatever it is, right? They go through all the first 6 robot masters from the first game, and then they show Roll. And so that's like one of the few appearances where she appears like, oh, this is Roll, and she's like a housemaid, whatever robot. And then it shows Rock. It's like, oh, this is Rock. He was going to be Dr. Light's assistant before he became Rockman or Mega Man. And then the final page is Blues, Proto Man, and he's the first robot created, blah, blah, blah. So it's like, why am I even talking about this? I don't know.
I don't know. Do you want to move on from it?
I don't remember why we brought this up when I was talking about Mega Man 4.
Well, I asked about Roll.
Oh, yeah. And that was like one of the few times it's like Roll was mentioned in the games. You also see her at the ending of Mega Man 1. Mega Man comes home, he's like riding a train or something, and like at the very end you see Roll and Dr. Light, and he jumps down and it has like a little picture frame thing. And that happens again in Mega Man 4. He's again riding the train home, and then he gets home and there's Rush and Roll, and he jumps down and you get a little picture frame.
So Mega Man supports public transit.
Yeah. Well, he's Japanese, I guess.
Fair.
I don't know if she makes an appearance in 5 or 6. She plays a bigger role in 7. Well, vaguely bigger. Not like a lot more, but she appears in the opening cutscene and she was talking to Mega Man and stuff. And I guess that's it. Does she ever appear again? I think in the Japanese version there's some cutscenes with her, but the American version cut a lot of that stuff out.
Figures.
And then in 8, she might appear in like the shop or something. Anyway, this is getting way convoluted. MegaMan stuff like for half an hour. I played MegaMan 4 on RetroArch, and it was really cool. It has cool filters. I had fun. I need to get a better controller. But yeah, this is a really cool emulator. It was really fun listening to all the music, and I downloaded a bunch of NES games. I played a little bit of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, just because I wanted to hear the music. And again, it's so good, even though that game is ridiculously hard. I got a bunch of NES games. Maybe I'll play more later, but okay, God, that's enough NES retro stuff. God, what have you been doing? Save me.
Well, I guess I can vaguely update us on video games to a game that came out 2016, 2018, I don't know. And they just, basically I went back to playing a little bit of The Long Dark, but instead of just playing survival mode, since they did finish all 6 episodes, I've gone back and I just finished chapter 1.
That's crazy that there's 6. I think I played 2.
Yeah, I only remember up to 2, and then I was like, well, guess I gotta wait for the next one, or maybe it was more like, I'm just gonna wait until they're all finished, and they are. So now I started chapter 2, and I gotta help the old guy with the bear. And I know you didn't like this part much at all.
Yeah, because isn't it basically like, I need you to shoot the bear, and like you have to do it like 6 times or something, and each time doesn't the bear attack you?
I only vaguely remember. I know there's this point where I guess you come out from a cave or something and the bear is like on this tree stump above you, or maybe on some rocks. That's probably going to happen at some point. It's fine. But it's been so long. I guess I played the first chapter multiple times, so I basically went through that pretty easily. I knew where everything was, what I basically needed to do. There's an extra added NPC, because the first chapter was basically just about Grey Mother. She's the last one left in Milton. She has some information with her special site, whatever stuff they want to work with. You help her by getting wood for her fire, you get her food, and then there's actually an additional quest to give her even more supplies if you read one of the notes that you can find in her house. Because they're like, no one else is left in Milton. We need to take care of her whether she wants it to or not, basically. And then you get the additional quest to give her more food and firewood. And I did actually stay around to finish that one particular quest because, yeah, okay, maybe the story's kind of silly and whatever, but she is just this poor blind old woman just sitting in her house waiting to die, I guess. So if she wants to just wait around for a little bit longer, she has the supplies that I gave her. Whatever, that's her choice. And then I come into chapter 2, and now I'm dealing with the old guy. Actually, real quick thing. Back in chapter 1, there is a gas station that you go to find supplies, la la la. And the first time I played through this chapter, it was just empty. But this time going through the chapter, there's like this man that you can find in there and talk to. And it's kind of weird. He speaks in his funny way. He seems kind of, I don't know if you would count it as hippie-ish, but there's something weird about him, I guess. Not in a bad way, just odd.
Okay.
And then further into chapter 1, you go into this farmhouse that Grey Mother tells you about, because there was like, oh, you're asking about, I guess, your ex-wife. And Grey Mother is like, oh, I heard a voice out in the town, and there was like angry men, and they came after me, and then you gotta go to this farmhouse, and you'll understand why. So we finally can get to the farmhouse, and this time I could actually go in, because when I first found the farmhouse, it was locked. Magically, whatever. So this time I can finally go inside, and you have this big long cutscene about dealing with like an escaped convict. And he talks about how him and his ex-convict pals escaped from the transport bus because it was crushed in a cave. And they go into Milton and they like trap all these people in the schoolhouse and then burn the fucking schoolhouse down. It's really kind of fucked up. So you get a choice of whether you pull the knife that was in his belly out or if you push it in. Well, come on. If you know me, I'm gonna just... I pushed it in. I would have fucking twisted it, you know, if it was actually me. Because I'm just being vengeful. Like, you just killed a whole bunch of people in town. You think I'm just gonna let you fucking run free? And on top of that, even if you remove the knife, he probably bleeds out to death, whatever. Then you finish all your stuff with Grey Mother. She gives you some hiking supplies. And you go to another part of the mountain and you do some mountain climbing to get down and then mountain climbing to get back up. And that's when you get chapter 2. But just before then, you meet the mysterious dude again. And I feel like they did this on purpose. He gives a very God vibe.
Okay.
Mostly just because he fucking just pops up somewhere and pops out somewhere, and there's like no indication that anyone was around there. But on top of that, he knows what you did to the criminal.
Okay, weird.
So like, obviously, how else would someone know what you did in the cabin? So it's just like, oh, okay, I guess he can see everything. It's a God character. Fine,
maybe
whatever.
He's Santa Claus.
Santa, God, whatever. At least Santa gives presents. So,
you're up in the northern reaches of Canada, so it might be Santa.
Sure.
Santa's Canadian.
Well, Santa told me to keep all my luck to myself because I'm probably going to need it. So I guess Santa can look into the future.
Oh.
So I do some mountain climbing and you have to go through this cave and I'm kind of getting sleepy, but I'm like, I just want to get through this cave, and this cave is more direct than the survival cave that you can go through. There's less offshoots. You're just basically going straight, really. And I'm like, well, I don't know how the weather's going to be when I get out there, so I'll just check what the weather is, and then I can go back in the cave and, you know, set up a fire and fall asleep in there, because at least you're protected from the wind and stuff. At least I won't freeze to death. But then when I left the cage...
The cage?
When I left the cave...
Oh, okay. I'm like, wait, did I miss a story detail here somewhere?
I got captured. No, when I left the cave, that's when the new cinematic takes over and you see this guy getting attacked by a bear. You grab his gun and it goes to black and you hear the gunshot. Well, this is where chapter 1 officially ends.
Okay.
So I didn't have to, try to sleep. Yeah. I didn't even realize that was going to happen. I was just like, oh.
There's a lot of new content, because when I played it, it was just the grandma. None of this other extra stuff.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell the difference that they added in Mysterious Guy after, because when he moves his mouth, he has, teeth and a tongue in his mouth, whereas in the old cinematics, they're moving the mouth, but it's just... There's nothing behind the mouth. It's just a flat thing. And then they just give the simulation that the mouths are moving.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the difference in the quality between Grey Mother and this new mysterious dude. So
yeah.
So now I get to go through the railroad things and I got to head to the power plant, which I guess was a dam before everything froze over.
Oh, is that where Fluffy lives? Or is that a different dam?
I think that's where Fluffy was, because when I played the survival, I went in there and Fluffy was nowhere to be found. But I could have sworn Fluffy was in survival.
Maybe he's only in there some of the time.
I thought it was always a given when you first went in, but who knows. So we'll see if Fluffy is there this time, and I gotta go there and see if there's some medication to get this dude, because if I don't get anything, we're too far away from civilization, he's going to die from infection, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how chapter 2 finishes out, and then after that, I don't even know if I finished chapter 2 back in the day.
I definitely didn't.
So, oh no, I didn't, because I got stuck in the fishing and eating, and then, yeah, I got stuck there. So we'll see how that goes. I do remember this area, at least locations-wise, so I just saved in the Canadian outpost next to the lake.
Okay.
So I know all that stuff. So
Is it just Mystery Lake, the area?
yeah, it's just Mystery Lake, the area.
Yeah, that's right, because he lived in that other cabin on the other side, right?
Yeah, that's a very good location as well. So yeah, that's just a quick update. I haven't played too much. It's hard because, like, I want to play story games, obviously. That way I have something to talk about while we do these podcasts. On the other hand, I always have the thing where I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this anyways, I should stream it. But then, on the other hand, it doesn't matter when I stream the story because maybe not everyone's going to be on the first stream of the story to begin with. So, like,
yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
I know, it's just, that's a me thing.
Yes.
Maybe eventually I will get to streaming it, even if it's in patches, whatever.
Maybe we have a nice bigger audience just to chat with.
Yeah, if you want to see me stream, go bug me to go stream on Blue Sky or something, please. I need some attention.
Oh, jeez. Interesting. Anyway, I actually played a little bit of The Long Dark as well, because there's one day I remember you're like, oh, let's play it together, and we did the survival mode together. And we both started on the random start, except I started next to, like, a mini town. It wasn't a huge town, but it was, like, I think it had, like, 4 houses, which is a lot, I guess, compared to your 0.
Yeah, I got stuck. I don't know if I started in one place that it wasn't where I ended up. I think I had gone up or down some mountain climbing things, and I ended up in this ravine area. And I did survive for a while, all things considered.
Yeah, it was impressive, honestly.
But the thing is that in order to escape from this ravine that I'm aware of, because I tried to go back to the waterfall that I came out from, I couldn't go back into the waterfall, right? So that goes that exit entrance. The only other one I found was covered with, like, brambles that you can't get through. You can't set them on fire. You have to specifically have an axe. And this place has no houses, so there's no place to get an axe. I can't even make my own makeshift axe because you technically need to get to the forge to make a makeshift axe, which doesn't make any fucking sense, but whatever. So I'm just, like, literally stuck in this ravine and there's no exit that I can find.
Weird.
It was really unfortunate.
I had an okay time, but, like, I felt kind of bored, honestly. Like, I had enough food that I had to just keep putting it in the fridge, and
well, that's the thing. It's like you can get these places and you can scrounge everything and you can have all your supplies. But then once you get all those supplies, you eventually have to make the trek out to go adventuring, basically.
That's what I did. Like, towards the end, I'm like, well, I got a lot of food back in the fridge, so I'll take a little bit, take some water and some supplies. I'll go up to the mines because I saw something, like, I forget, it was the map I made with the charcoal, or I think I remember, because when you start the game, you have to pick on the map, like, where do you want to start? And I picked random, right? Well, we both picked random. But I know which area I started in because it tells you, like, this is I forget what the area it was called that I was in. But I was like, oh, that was on the northeast part of the map, so I want to go down this way. So, like, I looked at the sun, and I looked at the sun before I realized you could make a map. But once I made the map, I was like, oh, okay, that's even easier for figuring out what direction I'm going in. So I went to the mine. I'm like, I'm going to go I think this will lead me to the coastal highway or something. And there's a bunch of houses there. And mostly I just wanted to find a weapon because I was, like, still unarmed. I had, like, one flare, which I used to scare away some wolves. And then I got up to the mines, and that's where I left it. And I just been thinking, like, do I really want to play more? I mean, not really.
See, that's why I kind of figured, oh, I guess I'll just go through the story again.
Yeah.
Because at least then it gives me some kind of objective.
Yeah.
I don't mind listening to the voice acting and the characters, even if the story's a little silly, but
I feel like when I first played this game years ago, I didn't need the objective because it was still so new. And, like, even just the mystery of, like, exploring and finding out what's going on was fun and interesting. But
I guess, but, like, you didn't even play long enough to see that there's auroras at night, and when that happens, then the electrics come on. And I think there's, like, a trader now if you can get hooked up to the radio.
Well,
like, there's a lot of stuff.
The thing is, like, normally during the night I just sleep.
I don't know. Maybe there's a way to predict when the nights
is
are
the
going to happen.
auroras in the survival mode too, or just story?
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't even seen auroras in the story yet. I know this happens in survival. I've gone to sleep and it says, oh, the auroras. Or maybe it doesn't say anything specifically, but the screen vaguely lights up while you're doing the sleep countdown and you can hear the electricity crackling.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen that.
So, yes, that's the thing that happens. And we got, I guess it counts as DLC or expansion or what have you, that adds like something about Geiger counters and all the nuclear waste stuff or something.
Yeah. I guess my main objective at the moment was just like, I need to get a weapon to defend myself against, like, you know, wolves and stuff, because there's many times like, oh, there's some wolves, I'm going to run back inside. Or the one time I went outside of like this barn and there was just literally a bear right there. It's like, well, I guess I'm going back inside and I'm just going to sleep for a while.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just have to sleep a day away because it's a fucking blizzard outside and you'll die if you go out there.
That was a really fun part of like when I first started playing, because like I forget if like in the very beginning when we first started playing, if Mystery Lake was the first area they gave you, but did the highway exist in those early games, or was that added later? I think there was like 3 zones. It was the highway and then like the big farmland area.
I guess. I mean, it's been so long, I don't remember.
Yeah, anyway, it's good. It's just not, I guess, something I was feeling right now, so.
That's fine.
I did play one last thing I guess I'll talk about. So you're very familiar with Vampire Survivors.
Yes.
That type of game.
Yes.
I've never played Vampire Survivors, but I have played a few other games that are basically that.
Free clones.
Well, not just free, like free because I got them on Epic, yeah.
Okay.
Epic gave them away for free, so technically, I guess. The last one I played was, I think it's called Brotato.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's fine. Like,
it sounds super goofy.
It's, how do I say this? When you're playing it, it feels kind of fun, but it also feels like I'm being tricked.
Okay.
Like I can see what they're doing with like, oh, you're getting big numbers. Oh. And like, this thing is like slightly better than this thing. And like, you got the blue gun, but do you want to get the purple gun? It's like, I don't know. It's just, on one hand, it's fun because as you're leveling up and, you know, there's stages basically, or rather like you have to survive like 30 seconds or whatever it is. And then after that, you get like a little break where you get your level up. So like you can choose, oh, maybe you're going to get 5% faster attack speed or 5% walking speed, whatever the thing is that you're choosing, right? As you level up. And then like you get the weapons and the items like, oh, these are the 4 things that are in the shop right now. Do you want to get one of them? Oh, this weapon is really good. You can combine it with this. What is your build? Are you melee? Are you ranged? Are you, using the turrets and like the engineering stuff? And like, it's kind of fun, but it's also just like after you play it like 2 or 3 times, you've kind of seen everything, and yet still, I would still play it a little bit more. And I don't know if it's because I was just like using it as a podcast game for a bit. Just catching up on some of the old podcasts that I've been meaning to listen to of other podcasts. So it's one of those games where I can just throw on a podcast and just walk around and blast a bunch of goofy looking purple monster alien things and not think too deeply. But then when I think about playing a game like that, I feel like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my time?
Yeah, that's kind of why I've been thinking like, oh, I should be playing at least story games. Because it's like, otherwise, I could be doing something a bit more productive.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, then you think about it deeper again, and it's like, all games are just this. So, like, maybe don't worry about it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, at least if there's a story, like a good story, I don't know, somehow playing the long, dark story mode feels a little bit better than just doing survival for endless amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, I get that for sure, especially because it like gives you something to...
Clear objectives.
For a lot of games, like when I was playing Minecraft for a while, and I'm finally done with that, it was all about like making your own goals. And then the fun of achieving those goals. I feel like when I was playing through The Long Dark, I had the goal in mind, like I gotta find a weapon. But unlike Minecraft where I can work towards it, it's kind of just like I'm just gonna have to check a bunch of houses and hope I get lucky. So it feels less achievable. It feels more like dumb luck.
That's fair.
And it's kind of the same for these survival games, or at least Brotato when I was playing it. It's like, oh, you can try playing the engineer class, for example, but like it's still up to luck whether you even roll the engineering items when you level up at the middle points of the stages. So it's...
I guess I would say that would be what it sounds like a better part of Vampire Survivors is that if you pick a class, you always get items that work with that class. Like you get different choices of items that you want to make that class into, but if you're playing the old Garlic Man, which was my favorite, it's not going to give me a whip made for the other class type.
Well, I mean, it kind of is the same because like you start with certain things, but like if I'm playing as the engineer, sure, I start with the wrench that lets me build a turret, but like I want to get more engineering stuff too, and like sometimes you can get lucky and you get a few, and sometimes you get unlucky and just don't. And I don't know, it's probably I'm making more of a big deal out of it than it actually is. It was still fun, and like I still played a bunch of it. I guess I unlocked a bunch of characters, and like one of them was like, this guy can't use weapons, but he has like 5 times as much HP, and his HP regenerates a lot, and every time he crashes into an enemy he explodes. So like it changed the games. Like now you're not worried about the weapons, now you're just like crashing into things to explode. So I don't know, it's interesting. All that being said, is I think I'm done with Brotato. It was fun and it was free on Epic, and that's plenty good enough. I might try the what are those anime girls called? Hololive? Yeah, I know they have a free one. And it's like, well, it's free. It's cute. I don't know jack shit about Hololive, but the sprites in that game are cute. So there's that. So sure, what the hell? Maybe I'll try that.
Maybe you'll learn a little bit of Hololive lore or something.
Oh, no, thank you. It's so weird to me, man.
Hey, whatever. I mean,
I don't want to be mean. Everyone can like what they like. And I like anime too, but like there's something about VTubers that just kind of doesn't...
I mean, technically I had the VTuber vague thing. I mean, it was a VTuber and the PNG tuber type of thing.
I think the thing about VTubers that kind of like weird me out is they all have that same kind of movement to them, which makes sense. Obviously, they're all like running the same program, right? Mm. But I don't know, just the way they wiggle around on the screen feels really unsettling to me.
Poor you. Would that make the PNG tubers easier for you, since it's more static images that just kind of flip between one?
It's not about being easy or hard. It's not like I'm having like a panic attack over it or something.
Well, no, I'm just mean like easier as in like, well,
they're
it doesn't
not more
look
appealing.
As weird.
No, they are not more appealing.
Okay,
if
fine.
anything, maybe they are slightly less appealing.
Fine, whatever.
If you're gonna ask me anyways, but it's tough because like some of those VTubers have like cute designs. Like when you see their like when people draw fan art of them, right?
Yeah, I think there's like Gura, the little shark girl.
I don't like her.
Oh, okay. That's the only one I vaguely know.
But yes, she is one of them. Hey, you know what? I'm going to tell you because you brought it up.
Okay.
And I've said this before, and I've tweeted about it or on Blue Sky. Like, there was this anime game that is a new gacha game that has come out, and I don't remember the name of it. Something Frontline, something, I don't know. But it has this cool thing where you could build a base, and it's kind of like, I'm just going to say Dark Cloud, where like you're normally playing like a third person RPG, but like you go into a build mode, you build stuff, and then like it appears in the game and you can walk around in it.
Okay.
And it's like, whoa, this is really cool. And then they were showing like the characters, and like I'm sure there are a ton of characters in this game. But the two that first popped up on the screen when I was looking at it were these anime girls. And one of them had like a dragon tail, and the other one had like some other reptile looking tail. And it's like, this anime character is 100% human, except it has like this thick ass crocodile tail sticking out from her backside. And I can't with that. It just looks so weird. It like digs itself into my brain. I can't unsee it. And I don't know. I don't like it.
Okay, that's fair.
And that's the same with that shark girl. Like,
Yeah, but I think, well, okay, she has the sharp teeth, but I think the rest of it, isn't it just like a little onesie that she's wearing or something?
she's got like this blue dress, but doesn't she have like this big, like she has like a shark tail like sticking out of her. Even the actress that plays that character, I think, has been heard to make fun of it. Like, oh yeah, I got this fish stuck up in my ass. And that's what it looks like.
Yeah,
It's such a weird design. I don't like that. Why do they design anime characters like that?
Is it similar when the anime character has like the kitty ears in their hair?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take that as a yes.
It's tough. There's always like these two different types of anime characters, right? Like, they either have human ears and then their hair is kind of shaped like ears, or they don't have human ears and their hair goes all the way down so you don't see that they don't have human ears, and they have like little cat ears or whatever. And both of them are kind of weird to me. Like, I just don't like that.
Could you handle regular furries?
That's still better to me than the shark tail or the dragon tail thing just sticking out of a human. Like,
what about a kitty tail?
I'm imagining just me as a human being, a human male, having this, like, I don't know, the tail like the size of my fucking hand just sticking out of my backside, and like the clothes you would have to wear, and how, like, I couldn't be sitting the way I'm sitting right now. And it's so stupid to think about these things this way. I know. I'm fucking stupid. It's okay.
Aww.
But it just bothers me, and I don't like looking at characters that have that. It's just,
I mean, it's fine. I was just thinking, like, you know, a kitty tail, it would just kind of be an extension of my tailbone, and that already hurts.
Somehow less bad when they're at least thin. Because, like, there's that Nekomata in Genshin Impact. And there's another character that also has a cat tail, and it's like, yeah, it looks dumb, but it's not a big, thick, weird reptile or shark tail thing. Maybe it's because
they're more solid.
Maybe it's because I'm so used to, like, seeing the cat girls in anime for so long that it's kind of like
whatever,
less weird. But when it's a big, thick, like, fish tail thing, like you sat on a fish and it's sticking out of your ass, that's just weird to me. I don't like that. So I saw that game, and I'm just like, I don't think I can play this. If this is what the anime girls are going to be looking like in this game, I don't think I can do it. That's what bothered me about, I know I mentioned this when we played Zenless Zone Zero. Like, the first 5-star character that they released was that girl with, like, the big dumb shark tail. I'm like, oh god.
Poor you.
Why am I even talking about this?
I don't know, because gacha games. Hey, game devs, if you want, like, characters that have shark tails or crocodile tails or whatever, just make fucking furries. Just make scalies. Don't be pansies. I know you're trying to sell it for anime waifu shit, but just make some fucking furries.
Wow. That's some hard takes. I mean, I'm all for, like, having some more, like, cool, like, monster people, but yeah. I don't know. I think it's like they want to have this cool kind of dragon character, but they also want it to be like a super hot anime girl. And
yeah, like, they can't commit. You gotta pick one or the other. Just deal with it. Make a cute anime girl, and then make the furry, and you get both sides.
Yeah, like in Zenless Zone Zero, for example, there are some, like, there's that big old panda dude, and he's just a panda. It's not just a man, a regular human man with, like, a panda nose or something. It's just a panda character.
Yeah, but he's a male, so, like, they don't have to try.
True.
They just need to sell waifus. Not as many people are buying husbandos.
That's probably why it took so long for Final Fantasy XIV to release their, like, cat, full cat girl thing. Because when at the beginning of the game, they had the cat girls, but they were the anime cat girls, where it's like, I'm an anime character, but I don't have human ears. I have cat ears, and I have a cat tail, but everything else is pure 100% human, so don't worry, you can fuck me. Whereas, like, later on, they released the Kimari-looking ass people, which I forget their name, the Ronzo, I think, and they're, like, just cat beast men.
But they were only dudes, right?
For some reason, they only brought those out for the dudes, yeah.
That's fucked up. Eventually,
they brought out for the female Ronzo, which, I mean, there had always been male and female, because these things were introduced in Final Fantasy X. In Final Fantasy X, there are both female and male Ronzo, but for some reason, when they brought it to the MMO, they decided, we're only going to do the men, because, the girls aren't sexy. So I don't know, but now they finally have it. But I think you have to like buy the expansion pack to access them, which is really fucked. Like, don't lock gendered stuff behind a paywall. Come on, man.
You know what? Shout out to both WoW, although fuck Blizzard in other ways, but whatever. Shout out to WoW and Guild Wars for making good furry characters for both male and female.
Wait, what? Furry characters in WoW?
I think, the female Tauren I think were fine.
Oh, the Tauren, that's right. Because I was going to say, I remember the Worgen.
No, the Worgen were trash.
Yeah, the Worgen were terrible.
But the Tauren were fine, and I fucking love the Char.
Yeah.
Especially because they run on all fours. That's just like, chef's kiss good.
Man, okay, we're already really far into this episode. I'm not going to get into the talk about WoW and the Worgen, but...
That can be another thing.
The original Worgen were so
I
cool.
know, sweetie.
So cool.
I know. That's a discussion for another time. And I would really like to go over that. But
okay, well, I guess.
I think for this week, we're probably good.
What a freaking mess of
It's fine. People seem to enjoy it. And if you are enjoying this, please do us a favor and leave some comments. Talk to us on Blue Sky. Leave some ratings on, I don't know, Apple, Spotify, whatever you use. That being said, for some reason, Apple's not letting me view the comments and reviews on our show. It just says an error has occurred. So if you've been leaving stuff on Apple, I apologize. I can't see it.
Weird. Apple is a mess of a... Never mind. Hey, if you like Apple, it's cool. And you're cool. So, hey, thanks for joining us. We'll see you later.
Yeah, we love you. Bye.
Bye.